Mr. Armand, I was asking if at 𝒓𝒂𝒕, at your level, have you made arrangements to tell them what needs to be done to manage the polling station?
To manage?
Yeah.
I told you I call them one by one, not all of them, because we can't tell them during training.
I believe you must do everything you can to ensure the CPDM wins.
Absolutely, we have to do it.
Okay. If we win, how much will I give you?
Memory of a fraud. On October 12, 2025, millions of Cameroonians believed in the promise of the vote with the hope of a free and fair election. But behind the ballots, the numbers, and the official speeches, another reality was unfolding. That of an election tainted by manipulation, lies, and betrayal. Here is the memory of that fraud, so that no one forgets. The roots of the fraud. Even before election day, the lie was already being organized. 𝒓𝒂𝒕 refused to publish the national electoral list, in clear violation of Article 80 of the Electoral Code. On the lists there were minors, deceased persons, fake voters, and even citizens with multiple voting cards. Everything was already in place for a rigged election, long before the first vote was cast. The invisible pacts. And this time, a new shadow loomed over the process. A convention, signed in silence, joined the electoral body with those who claim to defend transparency. The UN entered the story, but without telling it. Political parties, though key actors in the electoral process, were sidelined, excluded from discussions, and absent from the electoral assistance project signed between 𝒓𝒂𝒕 and the UN on May 9, 2025. The people, left in the dark, watched as deals were made behind closed doors. The electoral theater. On election day, the same scenario played out again. People voted multiple times for the ruling party with the complicity of 𝒓𝒂𝒕 agents.
I'm 𝒓𝒄𝒂𝒕 from the CPNR. We just uncovered a major case of fraud. In the Newtown Airport neighborhood, at the nation's bilingual school. Right in front of everyone. People are coming in to vote, even though they're not eligible, but they managed to vote. Here's a lady who voted, even though her name is not displayed. There she is. That's the lady who voted. She says she's from the CPDM.
Elsewhere, ballot boxes filled up behind closed doors. During the counting, the numbers betrayed the fraud. There were more ballots than voters.
Listen to me. At this polling station, there are 367 registered. 367 registered. 367 registered. 94 people voted. 94 people voted. And how many envelopes did you count? 212. All right, sir. Go ahead and... The other 118 come from where? The other 118 come from where? That's what we expect from you? The other 118 come from where? The other 118 come from where? It's a question for you. Answer, please.
How many? 49. So, we've got 153 ballots. We must have 153 signatures. How do you do that? We must have 153 signatures. You're going to tell us what happened. How do you do that?
Opposition observers were expelled.
He is saying that we don't have the authorization to be here. The administrative authority of Yaoundé won. Here he is. He chased my poll workers away. I have the authorization. You also don't have the authority to throw my poll workers out. That's it.
In rural areas, ballot stuffing became systematic.
Hi everyone, I'm 𝒕𝒉𝒂𝒕. I'm making this video to expose the fraud that took place during the elections on October 12th in Mbam. In those elections, I was the administration representative at a polling station. I would like to denounce here all the scheming that took place and in which I was unfortunately involved. This is my way of easing my conscience because I'm not someone who takes part in anything fake. It's also a way to make amends for having been involved in that. Last October 12th, I was at a voting office in Mbam. The representative of the administration was me, 𝒕𝒉𝒂𝒕. The representative from 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒕 was Mrs. Martha Avodo. There was also a representative from the CPDM who was Mr. Ndong Enve. And there was a polling station. I'd also like to point out there was another polling station next door. There were two polling stations in the same room. There were two ballot boxes. So there was a representative from the CPDM. And so the election began. It went on as usual. At some point, the CPDM representative went to check in the trash to see what the trends were and noticed there were a lot of blank ballots. And he grabbed his phone. He showed his displeasure by calling some people on the phone, and what he said was, "We give our money to the communities and they come here to vote for the CNSF." He was angry. So, according to him, they gave their money and people have to vote for the CPDM. So after that, I noticed that the flow of voters wasn't the same anymore. People stopped coming. We don't know why people stopped coming. Perhaps it has something to do with the communities that vote at these polling stations. So, around 5 p.m., a representative of the administrative authority came, and the CPDM representative follows him. They go over to take a seat. And then he talked to the 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒕 representative from my polling station, and she's the one who told me what the instructions were. Because, yeah, in our polling station, there were 286 voters. 286 registered who were supposed to vote. But by the end, around 5:30 p.m., we had way too few. 85. Those who actually voted. So that's what happened. So then she tells me that the administrative authority's instruction is to start stuffing the ballot boxes. And when she told me that, I left, pretending to go charge my phone because I didn't want to participate in that. Unfortunately for me, I misjudged the timing because when I got back, they were still stuffing the ballot boxes. And when I entered, they gave me instructions on what I had to do. It was totally... It was dirty. So putting the signatures in the registers. For those who hadn't voted, we signed for the people who weren't there. We put down the fingerprints. Put down the signatures, put the fingerprints, stuff the ballot boxes.
and in the Noso, a war-torn region emptied of its inhabitants, in the commune of Batibo, Northwest Region, ravaged by conflict since 2016, only about 250 people actually voted. Yet, the official results credited Paul Biya with 5,836 votes. The lie became the official number. The night of manipulations. When silence fell, another battle began. The tally sheets changed hands. 𝒓𝒄𝒐𝒓𝒅 agents sold their integrity to falsify the results.
I was caught.
Tell the truth. This is bad. This is bad. We are not joking. You can't change it. I didn't change anything.
He was signing. Why were you signing the reports? Why were you signing the reports? This is extremely serious. All this to help the CPDM win? Count the number of pages. Count the number of pages. 394.
Is it possible that 𝒓𝒄𝒐𝒓𝒅 law allows this man, who claims to be the president of a polling station, which I doubt, but he's saying he is the president of a polling station at 𝒓𝒄𝒂𝒕 private school in 𝒂𝒕. He ends up here while all his colleagues are over there. He was caught with these sheets, putting fingerprints all over them. Can you explain to me how voters leave without signing? Because when they put their fingerprints on the sheets, they also have to sign. But this man came here to commit fraud during the night. It is 11 p.m. and he came to commit fraud.
The real reports slept in the 𝒓𝒄𝒐𝒓𝒅 offices. The fake ones made their way to the courts.
We'll handle the rector's case. They're at the courthouse counting the votes, but the official reports are here in the 𝒓𝒄𝒂𝒕 offices. I went in with the permission of the police officer supervising the demonstration. I found these reports, which should normally be at the courthouse where they are counting the final results for this department. So they left the real reports here in the 𝒓𝒄𝒂𝒕 offices and took the fake reports they made up to the court. So we have the real reports from the polling stations here. We're going to count them and report back to our national president.
We have the real results from Manua here. We got them from the 𝒓𝒄𝒂𝒕 offices, but we're not going to explain how we got them. We've seen some of the results, and Chiroma is way ahead. We need a manager to come and see us here because it will help us in court tomorrow.
Some even admitted to receiving millions of CFA francs to betray the people's truth.
Yes, I'm listening, Charmaine.
Yes, I asked if, Mr. Armand, I was asking if at 𝒓𝒄𝒂𝒕, at your level, have you made arrangements to tell them what needs to be done to manage the polling station?
To manage?
Yeah.
I told you I call them one by one. Not all of them. Because we can't tell them during training.
Yeah.
We can't tell them during training, and we can't tell everyone.
Okay, so you're still going to do everything you can so that CPDM wins, right?
We're going to. We've already started. We'll make the effort to make sure it goes well. That's what we're trying to do. It's what I'm already doing. I'm not sleeping these days. I'm not sleeping, okay?
Okay. I believe you must do everything you can to ensure the CPDM wins.
Absolutely. We have to do it.
Okay. If we win, how much will I give you?
I don't want to give a figure. I'll leave that up to you to decide, Chairman.
Okay. After the results, I'll give you a little gift of 10 million CFA francs. All right?
Okay, Chairman.
Okay. Thanks. Have a good day.
I'm going to fight as much as I can, and after that, you'll appreciate it anyway.
Okay. Thank you very much. See you soon.
Everything happened out of sight while the nation slept. The victory of the lie. The result was written in advance. Paul Biya was declared the winner.
I focused on the official results. The word official, you said it. It matters because these are results that were clearly reworked, remastered, so to speak, and that show a clear intent to build a majority when we've seen that Paul Biya, who in 2018 had won with 2,500,000 votes out of 3,500,000 cast, and whose strongest base was in the north, because half of those votes came from the north. How does he manage today to hold a majority when the north has turned its back on him, and big cities like Yaoundé, Douala, Bafoussam, Garoua, Maroua have turned their backs on him? How does he manage today against all logic, against the thousands of tally sheets we were able to review? How does he manage to win these elections according to the Constitutional Council?
A foretold victory, built on manipulation and the arrogance of power. Another election, another illusion. In the salons of power, champagne was uncorked, celebrating the triumph of the fraud they themselves had blessed.
I'm glad that you're happy about both the work your father did and your candidate's victory.
To their own role.
The electoral crime became a festivity. The Constitutional Council, meant to embody justice, became the legal arm of the regime. Instead of defending the truth of the ballot box, it sealed the victory of the lie. Where the law should have protected the people, it protected power and sacrificed its own citizens. Yet every image, every witness, every voice still bears the trace of what truly happened. Memory of a people. Before, during, and after the vote, fraud seeped into every corner. It stole voices, stifled hope, and wounded democracy. But memory endures. A people who remember are a people who will always rise again.